What's going on, everybody? We're doing World Series game previews for 3, 4, and 5. Now, these games are all going to be played in Houston, so let's go ahead and preview these 3 games. Last night was one of the most epic World Series games that I think I've ever watched in my life. The Dodgers bullpen had a little kryptonite there in the 8th inning. They finally gave up a run. Kenley Jansen blew a save. Justin Verlander didn't get the victory. This game, in my opinion, Game 2 hinged upon Dave Roberts' managerial calls here, I guess you could say. Taking Rich Hill out in the 4th, after the 4th. Bringing Kenley in the 8th with no outs to get 6 outs. I would have probably brought Kenley in the 8th with 1 or 2 outs. I would have let Brandon Morales try to pitch out of that jam. The Astros hit home runs in the 9th, 10th, and 11th inning. The first team to ever do that in World Series history. The Dodgers overcame a 2-run deficit in the 10th. I mean, this was one of the greatest World Series games I think I've ever seen in my life. But let's go ahead and start previewing games 3, 4, and 5 here. Let's go ahead and start with game 3. We have Yu Darvish versus McCullers, I believe. This is a great pitching matchup. The Astros have seen Yu Darvish before, as he used to pitch for the Rangers. They have experience against him. Overall, I don't see much change in this lineup. Maybe Gaddis will play. Gaddis might play. Carlos Beltran might DH. We're jumping into the AL side of the game now, so we're going to see a DH. For the Dodgers, I expect them to start. I expect Seager to actually be the DH in this game. I expect Taylor to slide down to short. Kike, I guess, in center. No. Ethier in left. Jock in center, because it is a right-hander on the mound. Jock hit his first career World Series home run, his second home run of the postseason last night off of Verlander in a game in which the Dodgers were trailing 1-0. So overall, I think the Dodgers have the better lineup with the DH 1 through 9. Grandal might DH. I mean, there's a whole list of choices where Dave Roberts can go with. On the flip side, we know who the Astros are. We know the normal faces for them. Last night, both closers blew saves. Giles blew it, I think, in the 9th or the 10th. Davinsky, the other reliever, blew it in the 10th, I believe, maybe. Or the 11th, I'm not sure. Can't remember. Such an epic game. But I expect the Dodgers to stick with their normal game plan here. I expect Yu Darvish to get into the 6th. I expect McCullers to go 5, maybe 6, depending on pitch count. Something the Dodgers have not done in this series that they did in the Cup series and in the Diamondback series is work pitch counts. Verlander, I think, was only threw like 80 pitches through 7 innings or something like that. But yeah, that was when the Dodgers had a 3-1 lead going on after the Corey Seager home run. But the Dodgers have not worked pitch counts. I guess maybe it's a few factors in there, which include Verlander throwing a lot of strikes, Keuchel throwing a lot of strikes, and their relievers throwing a lot of strikes. So it's kind of hard to work the count a little bit. Somebody who has been cold, you can say, has been Justin Turner. I think he just has the 1 home run, which was in Game 1. They need to get him going. Puig had 1 hit last night. I think Seager had 1 hit. I mean, most of the Dodgers had 0 to 1 hits. They only had 4 or 5 hits last night. So, I mean, it wasn't a great offensive showing. The Astros, on the other hand, had about 11 hits, I think. Won the game 7-6. And their offense figured it out late. Obviously, I think the temperature in LA out here, it was about 105 yesterday, I believe, out here in Reseda. In LA, it's probably closer to 100. In Dodger Stadium, with the air is thinner, the ball travels more the hotter it is. So that might have been a key factor with a couple home runs getting out. Even some Dodger home runs, Astro home runs. Balls that normally don't clear the fence cleared the fence last night. So that's something that we're going to have to look at in a change of scenery here in Houston. In Game 3, I expect you to go 6. I expect McCullers to go 5 to 6, depending on pitch count. And both teams to do what they've been doing, which is go to their bullpen. I think the Dodgers will have the advantage with their bullpen. Even though their bullpen faltered last night, I don't see that happening again. I just think that Kenley's too great. Morrow's too great. I feel like Dave Roberts knows what happened last night, and he might not do it again, depending on what happens in the series again. There's just a couple of key factors there. Now going to game 4, we're gonna have Alex Wood versus Charlie Morton here. Going back to game 3 real quick, I think the Dodgers will win that game because of their lineup. Because 1 through 9, they're so talented. Their bullpen, if they get if they get a 2-run lead again in the 8th or later, in the 7th or later, I think Dave Roberts will make the right call and bring Kenley in to get a 4-out save, 4 to 5-out save. Not a 6-out save. 6 outs is kind of a little bit longer, in my opinion, for a closer. I think 4 is optimal. 5 is pushing it. I think the Dodgers will win that game 5-3 in game 3. Then going to game 4, we have Alex Wood versus Charlie Morton. I think I'm going to give the advantage to the Dodgers on the starting pitching. Alex Wood was terrific during the regular season. Charlie Morton was also very good for the Astros, and he pitched a hell of a game 7 in the ALCS, going 5 innings, handing the ball over to McCullers to get the final 4 innings out. I think in terms of lineup, we'll see the same exact lineup that the Dodgers would have put out in game 3. Maybe a couple minor switches. Maybe we'll see Kike start. The Dodgers have a lot of choices. They can start Culberson at short, have Seager DH, Taylor at short, Seager DH, Seager at short, Taylor in center, Kike in left, Ethier in left, Jock in left. They have very many options, as a lot of these guys can play multiple positions. I think we'll see Logan Forsythe start one of these games for the Dodgers, and Chase Utley will come off the bench. For the Astros, I think we'll see the same lineup that we almost saw in game 3 for them. Gaddis being a DH. And with a lefty on the mound, I think we'll see closer to the game 1 and game 2 starting lineups compared to a game 3 starting lineup with a righty on the mound. But yeah, into game 4, I think that the Dodgers will use their same game plan. I think the Astros will have a shorter leash on Martin, who did give up, I think, 6 or 7 earned runs in game 4 in the ALCS. I think that you'll see Martin try to go 4 to 5. He has an electric fastball that hits in the mid to high 90s. Wood has to keep the ball down, get his ground balls. That's the type of pitcher he is. He's a ground ball pitcher. Playing against a team that can hit, this team is great at hitting and defense. Once they get into that bullpen, though, for the Astros, it does become a little bit of a stretch, as the Astros have to play matchup pieces. For the Dodgers, I think the plan is to get Wood to go 5. 6 would be pushing it. Obviously, 6 depends upon if he goes a third time through the lineup. As we all know, the Dodgers don't like their starting pitchers getting to the third time through a lineup, so that's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on here. For the Astros, Altuve broke through in game 2. I expect him to continue with some hot hitting here in games 3, 4, and 5 because it's home games. Correa as well. I think the bottom half of the Astros lineup kind of has to pick up a little bit. The Reddick, McCann. The top 4 to 5 guys in their lineup have been hitting, so that's something that they have been able to lean on. But those bottom 4 guys have to step it up a little bit. For the Dodgers, it's just finding base matchups in their lineup that they like. They need to get Turner going. Seager got going a little bit last night. Taylor on base. You need to get Bellinger going. Puig has been one of their better postseason hitters, but he hasn't gotten it going yet in the World Series. He had the home run last night, but you need more production from that 4 or 5 guy in their lineup. Barnes hasn't gotten going. There's just a lot of key pieces that just haven't gotten going yet in the World Series. So in Game 4, I expect this game to come down to the wire. I expect more of a traditional 5-4 game. I think the Dodgers will win. I honestly think the Dodgers will win games 3, 4, and 5. I think it's such a tough series, though, that it's more like one-run games, not like blowouts. So, I mean, game 4, I think game 4 can go either way. I think the Dodgers with the advantage with their bullpen. Jumping to game 5 here, we're going to go back to Kershaw versus Keuchel. Now, here's the thing to look out for here. Let's say that the Astros are down 3-1. Would you pitch Verlander in a winner in a take-all game for the Dodgers? Win, and that's it. If you're down 3-1, do you pitch Verlander? If Keuchel isn't able to go, do you pitch him on short rest? Do you bring him out of the bullpen to slow things down? Because and you'll have a day off between games 5 and 6 for a travel day. So there's all types of things that you have to look at if you're the Astros manager. here. I think Kershaw will do the same thing that he did almost in game 1 against this lineup. He was so dominant. He made their best hitters look bad. Altuve didn't play well. Correa didn't play well. I don't think they had seen a pitcher like Kershaw before. That's what it looked like. But yeah, this is a road game for the Dodgers, so Kershaw on the road is very tough in the postseason. He can either get lit or, he can have a dominant performance. There's no in between really there. I think the Dodgers will follow the same plan. I think they'll let Kershaw go 6 or 7. I think if Kershaw is rolling like he was in game 1, I think you see him get into the 7th inning, which a lot of postseason pitchers don't do in today's game. Most managers are analytical and go with this guy hits this way against lefties, so we need to bring in our lefty or our righty. I expect the Dodgers to have more of a longer leash if they're up 3-1 against the Astros. If the series is tied 2-2, I expect Kershaw to go 5-6, bring the bullpen in, and see what happens from there. Both offenses lit it up last night. I do not expect the same in the next 3 games. So that's something that we're going to have to look at here. I think I actually called, to a lot of my friends, Dodgers in 5. I like the Dodgers' overall depth. I like their pitching staff, and I love their bullpen. I think the Dodgers will win the series in 5. I think they'll win the next 2 on the road, which would be amazing. I still think that this is a great World Series. You have no East Coast teams. No disrespect to the East Coast, but y'all get so much bias from major media sports outlets. It's nice to see a West Coast World Series. But I just see this series ending in 5 games. I see the Dodgers taking it 4-1. I think every game is going to be a 1-run game. I think the MVP of this series, if Kershaw wins Game 5, will be Clayton Kershaw as he goes 2-0 with a sub 1.5 ERA. A bunch of strikeouts. I think that he's the catalyst for Game 5. In a Dodgers win. I think that they win that game 3-1, 4-1. That's going to do it for me. That's our World Series previews for Games 3, 4, and 5. If this series continues on, we will be previewing Game 6 and 7. Thank you for watching, and I am out of here. Peace.